welcome back to another episode of the MissJudged podcast at MissJudged podcast. Everywhere you can find us. New episodes drop bi-monthly, so, just wait. If it's like a dead week, just calm down. We'll be back. I am back, you guys, with your fan fave at Benny Inc.
Hey.
You
Thank you for having me again.
You're just my co-host.
Back again. At this point, it seems like I am your co-host.
You're my co-host at this point.
I'll embrace it.
Guess what we're talking about today?
Tell them I don't know.
All right, so I actually got the inspo for this from your Ask a Question because I feel like everybody that writes you is always in situationships. And you're always having to be like, he just doesn't like you and like all that. You say he doesn't like you all the time. So I want to dissect situationship hell. We're going to talk about how to know that you're in a situationship, how to potentially pivot that situationship, or how to fucking leave that situationship. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
How you feel?
I love that. See, let's just be very clear. So let's define the rule set real quick. So
Yes.
situationship is really just everything outside of a relationship, before a relationship. And
Yeah.
now you could those things can be in and out, right? Like you could have an intense one, you can have one that's lacks interest or chemistry, but either way, it's anything that's not a relationship yet is technically a situationship until it's relationship.
Okay.
So that could be that's a big umbrella, just to be clear.
Well, the definition, Merriam, Webster, is an undefined romantic arrangement. It doesn't even say relationship, guys, where both people are emotionally or physically involved, but there's no formal label, expectations, or long-term commitment. So you all already know you're in a situation. If you hear me say that definition, you know you're in it.
And by the way, I agree, and I don't think it's like necessarily bad, right? I think this is what it just depends on what it is you want, what phase you're in. When you're getting to know somebody, yes, it kind of naturally gets to a point, right, where you haven't communicated those things that you're interested in and what you want and what you're looking for. Early stage situationship, and there's nothing, it's not innately wrong. It's just when it gets to a point and you need to start making adjustments and pivoting on what it is you're looking for, then you're in a effed up, fucked up situationship.
Well,
it needs to be addressed.
I want to just quickly sum it up. We're vibing together, we're sleeping together, we don't have a label. Like, that's really it. It's literally the new term for fuck buddy. It's a little bit more involved than a fuck buddy, but that's where we're at.
Sure. Now, I think that also, like, even to the extent and the intensity of that particular situation you just mentioned, it really depends on how long that's been going on for. Now, if we're talking about a week, or we're talking about like 8 months.
Okay. Well, first we're going to talk about, because look, let me tell you, there's levels to a situationship, and we have all been there. I mean, I'm a long-term relationship girly, and whenever I've found myself in a situationship, I've been like, what's happening? Because I'm like, this isn't the normal, like role for things. Like, how did we get here? But let me tell you, it can happen to everyone. All right. So like, I want everybody to think of it like IKEA furniture. All right. A situationship is IKEA furniture. All right. You have instructions. They're not great. You're kind of putting it together. It's a little wobbly. Would you bank on that lasting after you made the IKEA furniture with the, mediocre ass instructions and it's not very stable? Like, would you put your body weight on that? That's how I feel about a situationship. Would you really, like, this is what a situationship is at its core, right? It's a little floppy piece of furniture. Would you trust that with your life? Would you put your whole body weight on it and hope it doesn't fall to pieces? No. So like, that's how everyone needs to think about a situationship. It's IKEA furniture.
Fair. It's a good analogy.
Yeah, I love it.
I think depending on how a situationship is viewed is really dependent on what it is that people want, right? Because I would tell you, most women want commitment. They just do. Now you could say yes. I didn't. I don't. Most women I speak to, and the troubles with dating is that they are looking for a commitment at some point in the near future. I'm not saying the men aren't. I'm just saying what I experienced there. Last night, I had a girl call in to my show, and I said, "So what do you want?" And by the way, I don't care. I'm not here to judge your answer. I just want to know what it is you're looking for, because no matter if you're going to build in a direction, you have to know what kind of end goal is about here.
Yeah.
And she said, "Well, I don't know, I wanted this and that. I said, are you interested in kids one day at all? And she says, no. And I said, fantastic.
Yeah.
I said, so
perfect.
So you're getting to know this guy.
Yeah.
You don't really care about marriage. As she mentioned, she doesn't want kids. So I said, so why don't you just enjoy your time then? What's the pressure about? Who do you care? Whose opinion are you mattering for?
Agree on. Well, here's the thing. I have met, and I had a whole episode about this. I don't understand when people want to get married and they don't want kids, because I'm just like, well, what are we doing? Why would we be doing tax returns together then? I wouldn't want to do all that if I didn't want kids. But I understand that there is a lot of people that like still don't want to be in a situationship, that don't want to like build a family with somebody because they still want the commitment. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot to unpack here. I have my whole little clueless notebook. We're going to go into it.
All right.
But basically the things that I kind of came across is like, how did you get here, right? How are you in a situationship? Like, here is where like you're probably at, right? Or these are the flags, I guess, of how to know if you're in one right now. And this is my research, guys. You talk all the time, but no plans are made. Every meetup is pretty much out of convenience. Like, you're not planning ahead usually. It is like a little bit more last minute, like, what are you doing tomorrow? Kind of thing. Again, not just sex. Maybe you are going on dates, but it is not a situation where you're having constant communication. It is inconsistent, but it is just consistent enough to keep you on the hook. And they'll always avoid relationships and like any chats about that. Like, it'll be like, why are you ruining it? Like, that's not romantic. That's not hot. Like, that kind of attitude. And also like relationship behavior, but no commitment. So like, maybe they're holding your hand when you're out. Maybe they're kissing your forehead. But that's not your man and that's not your woman.
Those are good rules.
Right? That's the flags.
I can appreciate those. And I think in general, a lot of it comes from like just a bad communication or miscommunication off the get-go. Whether it's a beginning or 2 or 5 or 7 weeks in, when you get into these situationships, is really the parts of the unknown. It's like, I don't know these things. And part of that is that you're not willing to bring it up and talk it through about, not just about you guys, but about what it is that you are generally looking for. It doesn't even have to be with that other person. There's like a fear of thinking like, oh, but it's too early. It's not early to talk about what it is that you're looking for in general. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I don't understand that, honestly. You know what? I'm a weirdo though, because I'm not afraid. Like, I am not afraid to be single, so I will just bring it up. Like, I have brought it up in many relationships, and they're like, oh yeah, we're boyfriend, girlfriend. And I'm like, okay, so what was the big deal?
Just to continue the conversation, but I know you want to bring up your next point, but I was going to say that, like, situationships are typically, in my personal opinion, are a result of you not communicating properly and you not kind of opening up about the things that you're interested in and communicating along the way, verbally, non-verbally, all these other variables that if it's inconsistent or if it isn't you've kind of allowed a situationship to continue. And if you don't look at it in that light, you are taking your personal accountability off the table, therefore losing all the power, therefore giving it to the opposite person, and then all of a sudden complaining about it when they use it in the bad way.
Oh my God, guys, episode over. All right. You're done here. Like, literally, he's speaking facts. Honestly, he is speaking facts. Like, this is not that serious. It's not that deep. It's not that like complicated. It's not that fucking confusing. The problem is that we get our hormones and our feelings involved and it becomes confusing. So why are they common now? They're common because of app culture. App culture is the fucking bane of our existence at this point. It was great for a second. It's ruined dating. It is super easy to have somebody over here that you're like, I like them a little bit. I don't really want to throw them away because maybe they'll grow on me, but I kind of want to keep talking to this girl. And like, I want to kind of see what else is out there. And you're basically just not saying that to that person where you're like, look, love you, but like, you're like on my second tier roster and I'm not ready to put you in as starting pitcher right now, but like maybe you can grow there.
Mm-hmm.
It's honestly like a little, I get it. We've all done it to someone. Sorry. But I don't really respect it over a certain age because you know what you want at a certain point.
Fair enough. And, this goes to the ability to see and vet these people as they come, right? Because like one person or two people can't be responsible for somebody or any particular person getting caught in a situationship. Like if you see inconsistencies and lack of communication and not taking you out, the first two things, how does the guy show interest? He takes you out, and then there's eventually some sort of commitment. But if he's not taking you out, none of this is kind of matter. It does kind of very much irrelevant. So if there's like a little bit of attention there, by the way, guys get it too. They get attention.
100%.
They get the attention from her, but she's like, okay, and like, you know, she strings along too. It's just not called string along to them. It's called like, oh, he's a cool guy.
It's so mean. No, you know, I've done it to guys, and I feel horrible when I'm like, oh man, this guy's such a good guy, and I'm just like, honestly, I just don't feel it. Like,
he's such a good guy.
It's always a good guy. You just don't feel it, which is the part that fucking sucks. And that's really the crux of the issue with the situationship.
Yeah.
It's a fear of commitment, and also a complete lack of emotional availability for that person. Not entirely that person's behavior. Like, I could be emotional and committed to the right person. I'm just not feeling it with you.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you're my situationship.
Sure. That makes a lot of sense. It's very convenient.
It's
when you want it, it's how you want it.
I was just called out. Oh my God.
No, I think that everybody has moments of this. I'm not even you specifically, just in general, right? Like everybody has those moments. And I don't think it's innately a bad thing. It's only a bad thing when you declare yourself getting used in situationships, when you become a victim to the other person's wants and needs and desires, and you tend to map yourself around the kind of person you like because you're very attracted to them. And that's what typically tends to happen. People get into these things because they're really attracted to somebody, and they're willing to let themselves go to standards that they wouldn't with other guys that they were kind of on the fence about. They're willing to do this, this, and this, but with this guy, they break the rules, they bend the rules, they toss out the paper, and then they complain about why he played or why he didn't match up to their expectation standards. Guys do it too. They just do it in a different way. The guys get the hints a little sooner. If she's not going out with you, bro, she's not into you. That's it, period.
Well, you know what? Let's dissect that, because I actually think there's levels to situationships, and I'm going to announce it here first. You heard it here first. Hot take. I actually think there are levels. Level 1 is hoe phase situationships. And everyone knows I strongly believe in a hoe phase. If you haven't had a hoe phase, your hoe phase will find you. Okay, you got to do it at some point in your life. Otherwise, it will happen when you least expect it. But when I say this to guys I date, they're like, I've never had a hoe phase. First of all, shut the fuck up. But anyways, the first level is when you're in your hoe phase. You're hoeing, you're enjoying, you're dating, you're trying to play the field a little bit. You're not trying to be committed because you're not ready. That is level 1. Level 2 is like, you actually deep down are ready and do want a relationship, but you're so like, you can't break the cycle of like knowing how to get close to somebody that you are still doing situationships with everybody. And honestly, you're probably frustrated with yourself because you're literally like, why can't I fucking get out of this? Like, I do want a relationship. I just can't meet the right girl. Again, emotional unawareness in that one, but that is level 2. There is also relationship situationships. And that is like something that nobody even knows about or talks about. And I'll give you an example of this one. This one is like, they're exclusive. They've been together probably for years. No commitments are taking place. They're both saying they want to be married. They want this thing, but it's like, deep down, they're not doing it together, and there's a reason. They're not each other's person. But nobody wants to break that relationship because it is comfortable and convenient. And honestly, that's a situationship. So like, I had a friend tell me a story the other day at dinner. It was actually crazy. I don't know this girl. She tells me this story about this girl. She's in her 40s. She's wanting a family. She wants to be married. She's been dating this guy for like 3 or 4 years. He also wants the same thing. But whenever he describes what he wants, it's literally not this girl. Like somebody who's religious, somebody who's traditional, like not the girl he's dating right now. And they're still together. And she's like, maybe he will change his mind. And he's probably like, maybe she will come around to what I want. But the truth of the matter is, they're both not young. They both want these things. It's going to come to a head where they're going to have to break up. They're clearly not meant to be. And that is also a like very scary situationship, honestly. Mm-hmm. It's a committed one, but it is a situationship.
Fair. So you had the phases. There were 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of them, the first one was the hoe phase, right?
Hoe phase situationship.
Hoe phase situation.
We love it.
So I agree.
I support that one.
Listen, I mean, well, it depends, right? And
Don't hurt people.
I think it depends, and a very big difference, because I do think men and women have very different ideas of hoe phases.
100%. Okay.
So
I don't know. I feel like women might be more savage than men with that one, honestly.
well, because it's easy. For men, it's not easy to have a hoe phase. A lot of women don't look at it through the lens of a guy, but in the reality, if they shut down, 20 out of 22 guys that approach, that's the reality. So when a guy talks about a hoe phase, he actually has to go through work to get into a hoe phase in the first place. Like, he can't just walk outside and say, I'm ready. He actually has to go and put in the work and date her and take her out and spend money and be attractive enough for her to say, okay, that's good. And can you imagine how many girls really don't do that in the first place? So it's part of it is that the hoe phase for a guy, he actually has to put in that kind of like work to get it. Now, when most girls think of that with guys, they think of the guys that they find attractive, which are it's not majority of guys.
Wait, what are you saying? Hold on for a sec. Are you saying that guys have to date like 20 girls to get into a situationship?
No, I'm saying that a hoe phase for guys is much harder than it is for guys. It's much harder for guys than it is for women. And they have to put in a lot of work to get into this quote unquote hoe phase. And only when girls think of hoe phase for guys, they only think of the guys that they find really attractive, which are very far few in between, because most girls complain about not finding guys attractive. But the only thing when they think about, oh, he's a player, he's this, you're talking about a very small percentage of guys. I mean, most guys have a very difficult time having a hoe phase, never mind getting a kiss. We're not even, we're talking about, so I think that when the hoe phase of situationship for a guy, he's really got to enter this phase of like, I got to get this up. I got to be this guy. I have to date her out. I have to spend money on her. I have to date her. I have to get her to like me enough to get attracted to me so that I can have a hoe phase.
All right. Well, okay. I want to clarify a hoe phase. Let me explain a hoe phase. Okay. A hoe phase is just you are open to saying yes.
Short term.
You're open to saying yes. Like, I've done this before. I was in my hoe phase. Second date. You want to go to St. Bart's? Let's go. Literally next week. Literally. I'm a psycho, by the way. Don't do what I do. But truly, like, you know what I mean? It's like you just say yes. You don't care. You're not trying to like get married. You're like, maybe if it works out that way, but that is not your end goal. You're just in a mindset where you're not like, I'm searching for commitment right now. That's the mindset. It doesn't mean you're out here spreading your legs for Paul, Dick, and Harry, okay? I mean, you might be hooking up with two people at once, and that is acceptable as long as you're safe. But like, that is really what a hoe phase is.
Got you. Thanks for clarifying.
Yeah.
Because I didn't understand the hoe phase thing. I was like, not that I didn't understand, I just didn't know how you thought about it. Like hoe phase, either sleeping with a lot or just being detached from a lot of different things.
Yeah, you're just detached, honestly. If you want to do that, you can. No judgment zone. I think that people shouldn't get judged when they're upfront. And I will say, I find this to be very true with situationships. 90% of the situationships between heterosexual couples, the man actually said multiple times to the girl, I'm not looking for anything serious right now. And she is sitting there like, one day that'll change because I'm so special. So like, the one thing I will say that is prevalent in heterosexual situationships is actually that the man is usually very upfront. Us women, I was never honest about it. I was never like, oh my God, I'm talking to other people. Like, I'm like, be obsessed with me. Like, I was being horrible. Like, I apologize. But that is what it is. Like, we're less honest.
Yeah.
But guys won't sit there and be like, oh, I have a date tonight and I'm talking to this other girl on the app. But they will be like, I'm not really looking for anything serious right now. And
that's true. And then some girls will say, oh, he led me on, because some guys maybe don't know how to communicate that thoroughly because they still want this girl to like them. And that, because if a guy comes up to her or is in a conversation with her and he says, I'm just looking for something casual, I mean, most girls are going to say no.
I respected it so much on apps when I'd be like, what are you looking for? And they'd be like, I'm not looking for anything because I just got out of a relationship, blah, blah. I'd be like, cool. If I was on the same point, I'd be like, let's kick it. Let's talk.
True. But I would say that most guys will take an L every time they say that. I don't know a single guy. I don't know like a single dude, unless he's like the attractive guy that could ever get away with saying that.
I do think that unfortunately this whole conversation varies greatly depending on where you're at with that. And I honestly think it is sometimes like some of these guys out here getting no likes on the app. They would love to just even be on a date, let alone in a situationship. You know what I mean? So like, I do feel like there is a little pretty privilege with that.
And this is not to like feel bad for men podcast, right? Let's be very clear. I've seen some dweebs and I've seen some dweeb responses. I've seen some ridiculous shit that they've said on some stupid ass on dating apps. I've seen some stupidity. So let's get this right.
Oh yeah, anytime I've given an ugly guy a chance, he has been worse than the guys that I am like actually attracted to. I'm not even joking. Like us girls, we're out here sometimes, and this is sometimes how you actually find yourself in a situationship with somebody you're like, I wasn't even that attracted to them. Like, what happened here? You're just like, let me do the opposite of what I've previously done because it's not working. And then you find yourself in a situationship with someone who's not even attractive and they're hurting your feelings. You're like, what the fuck happened? Like, you're looking at yourself like, I just need to go into massive amounts of therapy now. Like, how did this even happen? Mm-hmm. I mean, Billie Eilish said it. She's like, anytime you give an ugly guy a chance, he's going to get his ego built up, basically. And he's going to basically treat you
That's true. That's true. I can see that. But women get their ego built up every day.
Yeah.
Just with the level of attention, right? So I think I agree with you.
Yeah.
You know, if you're not attracted to the guy, you shouldn't give him a chance. Like, you know, I always have this thing, like, right? If you go on a first date with a guy and you have no desire to even want to kiss this guy, I always say you don't go on date 2.
Yeah.
Now some people say, oh, it's kind of strict. I don't think it's strict at all.
Oh, no. If I have complete friend vibes with you, like, I'm not trying to date you. And by the way, I have accidentally led that guy on before because I am a slow burn girly, and sometimes it has like slowly developed, but I've learned in my old age that is just not where you want to be.
Slow burn girly. I love it.
I am a slow burn because you know why? And this is the thing. And actually, this is why situationships, I think, occur for a lot of straight women. We have been accustomed in this weird dating world to the love bombing and the like obsession. You know, love bombing feels good in the beginning. It's like they're obsessed with you. It's, you know, when it's not like terrifying and serial killery, it's like, oh my God, this guy's so into me. He's like wanting to see me, hang with me perpetually. And you get like, your nervous system gets like into that. You get into this like game where you love the like intensity of it. And then this guy breaks your heart. But like whenever you meet a securely attached man who's like healthy and is trying to date you like in a healthy fashion, you're like, this guy doesn't even like me. He's trying to see me like every other week. Like, what the fuck? He's barely talking to me via text. Like, actually, he's healthy. And we've been so regulated to the dysfunction of the love bombing that we don't understand healthy.
But you ever notice, can I ask a question, honest question?
Yeah.
You ever notice how anytime women talk about love bombing, it's always after the fact?
Oh, no, I've been in it. I've been in it talking about it.
And you talk about it.
I loved it. Like, because we were both doing it.
Well, then it's not love bombing, right?
Yeah, that's true.
You can make an argument love bombing if it goes both ways, it's not love bombing.
Well, if you're reciprocating because you're feeling it too. I mean, look, the only reason love bombing even happens is when you're giving it back a little bit. Like, I have had friends that be like, he love bombed me, and then they show me the thread and I'm like, well, girl, you were receptive to all this shit. Like, you were egging him on.
Yeah, and I think pure definition of it is like it's a one-way street. Whereas like if it goes 2 ways, you can't really consider it that. And especially there's a lot of confusion.
Well, love bombing does exist.
No, it does exist, but when it goes both ways, you can't look back and say, well, he love bombed me. As a matter of fact, you love bombed each other, and you got into a place where he didn't want it to work out anymore. How could you say, you know, if it exists in the moment, you say, wow, this is love bombing. Maybe I should extract myself because it's a little too much. It's too aggressive. He's trying to get my attention real quick. He's making future promises. He's buying me things. These are love bombing tactics. But if he's just trying to plan, he's excited about seeing you. There's you're conflating actual interest with love bombing. And most of the time when I hear women talk about love bombing, they talk about it after the fact. When it didn't work out, they say, well, he love bombed me. As opposed to being in the moment and say, well, I see love bombing. I need to extract myself from the scenario.
Benny, have you ever love bombed a girl?
Not to my awareness, not that I know of, no.
Never? Oh, you know what? Like, I feel like everyone's done it at least once.
I mean,
because
listen,
like you get excited about something.
But love bombing is a very new term, right?
Yeah.
And it's an overwhelming kind of excitement, right? It's more of like, I'm trying to do this to manipulate the situation because I want to buy or get her interest or overshare or overpromise or overdeliver. And it's like that, right? Now, doing something because you're excited about seeing somebody or saying, hey, I look forward to seeing you, can't wait to, that's not love bombing.
No, it's not. No. I think love bombing was inviting me to St. Bart's on the second date. Like, that's love bombing. And I've like Jamaica on the second date. Like, literally, like, that's love bombing. And by the way, I'm here for it. Take me on a trip. But like, no, but you know, I was aware. Sure. I'm like, okay, this isn't healthy. Like, maybe this is like a Fast and Furious love story, and those do exist actually. Like, my parents literally got engaged after literally 5 months, and they're together 35 years. So like, It does happen, but it's not the norm. And I think everyone's always out here thinking they're the exception to the rule.
Well, that's true. But also think about how much the rules have changed over the last couple of decades. Think about how your grandparents met. He would go to her house and sit there, and he'd come the next day and sit there, and go in the next day, he'd bring her flowers.
Benny, he went to war and came back and married her.
That fair.
Literally. He was thinking about her in war. He could have been swiping on Tinder. It would have been a different situation.
Different situation, but guys were doing things that were seen as romantic back in the day, that were more consistency, that were showing interest, that was above and beyond. Like, oh, that's romantic. Now if a guy looks at you wrong, he's a creep. Take him away to jail.
No, you know what? This is the thing. Most healthy women don't think that way. This is part of the problem.
I agree with you.
Everybody out here making the rules are actually some of the most unhealthy people I've ever heard spout shit in my literal life.
I agree with you.
I hear like people being like, "Oh my God, he texted you and asked how your day is. He's like stalking you." It's like, Jesus Christ. Like, you know what? Damned if you do, damned if you don't. It's how I feel about my profession, actually. I have a saying. It's, as a woman, sometimes it's hard in my profession because if you're strict, you're a bitch. If you're overly nice, you're a flirty whore. Like, we can't win, right? So like, there's no winning. So you just kind of got to go with who you actually are. I need everybody to do that a little bit more because we're out here overthinking, reading into everything. And that's how a lot of people are ending up in situationships. Truly.
Yeah. Overanalyzing.
Yeah, because if maybe you actually aren't in a situationship, it's only been 3 months. Maybe you're actually just moving at a pace where you're unsure if you actually want to be exclusive with this person. But look, I have friends in situationship for 10 months. They're both in their 40s. He doesn't want to put a label on it. What the fuck are you doing? I'm looking at him.
But hold on. All right. But why are you looking at him?
I'm looking at him because, well, I'm not looking at him 100% because he actually has been very honest about it. Like I've said, sometimes the men are honest and we're not listening to them. However, he's telling her he wants the same things that he knows she very much wants. And I think sometimes people are over here like, it's better than being alone. And that's where a situationship is born from.
And I know those things can be difficult, like nuances matter. But, you know, I'm just big on like taking power back. And the fastest way to do that is to look at what you could be doing and like analyze your behavior and say, well, what am I putting up with, or should I not be putting up with? Because people really don't like that. And they don't like it because it requires them to do something. And it's difficult, right? When they think about it that way, they're like, well, if I knew this, if I would accept this as a truth, that would mean I have to do this. And I don't really want to look at it this way because if I did, that requires me to actually leave or do something.
Well, that's perfect because that goes into what I was going to say. Like, well, if you're in a situationship, how do you manage it? Like, how do you stay in your power in a situationship? So like, that's like a perfect example for that. Yeah. I also think like you need to learn how to communicate. Like everyone that is in a situationship that feels like they're powerless, like you are clearly not communicating.
Yes.
You're not. You're being afraid.
And there's a fear of it for a lot of people. Well, I'm speaking for a lot of women because I talked to a lot of women about this.
Women are the most afraid to communicate it.
Yeah. And part of the fear, from what I've seen, stems from their fear of losing the guy that they like.
Yeah, but what do you even have?
Nothing.
You don't have him, honey.
I know.
I've had so many interventions with my friends where they're like, well, if I say something, then he's going to think I'm like, you know, obsessed with him. And it's like, going to push him like, you know, when the time is right. And it's like, when's the time going to be right? Like, how much of your life are you going to have pass you by before you say something? Like, why are we not advocating for ourselves? It drives me up a fucking wall because I literally told you the last time that you were here when we talked about commitment that I was dating a guy for 3 months. We were literally in a situationship, which it would now be defined as, didn't exist then. But we were hanging all the time. He was talking about one day I'm going to meet his family and all this shit. And he was leading me on. And one day I just looked at him and I was like, 3 months in. And I was like, so what are we doing anyways? Am I like your girlfriend? We hang out all the time. And he just was like, you know, shout out to him for the honesty. But he was like, I just don't feel that thing that you're like supposed to feel. And I was like, noted. And the rejection stung like a damn bee. And I took the L and I went on my merry way and I was in a healthy relationship, in love, blah, blah, blah. He never went away, by the way. Lived in the DMs. So like, don't get twisted with that, guys, because those people just want validation. They're not trying to actually be with you. They already tried to have you. So don't even get, sucked into that one. But like, I was sitting there and I'm like, what if I had given this guy like 5 months of my life? Because he was never going to broach the topic, clearly.
Right.
He wanted to have his cake and eat it too.
Right.
So like, I always tell people after that situation where I'm like, why wouldn't you ask? Because maybe they should be afraid of losing you. Why are we so afraid of the other way around?
I yell this at the top of my lungs almost every day. I tell women to communicate about the things you want, or make, you have to take a step forward and say, hey, listen, to move forward, these are just the things I'm going to need. And if that's not where you're at, I get it. And just either way, right? Because there's two things, right? One, it could be that he doesn't actually want a commitment, but another could be, that he doesn't see it the same way you do, and he really didn't realize that we weren't already in one. A lot of guys
I have heard that.
A lot of guys kind of really don't think of commitment in the same way that women do in that way. Some guys need a little bit of like, is this going to be they're like, oh yeah, I just thought we were doing that.
Yeah,
and like,
literally.
Okay. They don't see it like I have to like do this and do this and do this because, again, their timing is a little bit different, and they are sometimes a little lack of the awareness of what means something to you. So they don't put that in the forefront of their brain. They're just thinking, oh, well, she's kind of like my girlfriend already. It seems like that. Yeah. But if you bring it up, sometimes that will tell him, be like, oh yeah, no problem. Of course, I thought we were already that. That's always possible.
Well, honestly, there was an article that came out. I think it was like the New York Times or something, like Wall Street Journal. It was some like, and it was funny because it was like about the situationship thing. And this girl was in the comments, and it's like stuck with me because it was so funny to me. She was like, oh no, me and my husband never had that conversation, and here we are 10 years later with 2 kids. Like, and I just was laughing because I'm like, that's funny. It does sometimes just like, it is like a natural thing where you're just like, we're together. However, if you're together and one person is sitting over here in a question mark land, then why the fuck are you so afraid to ask?
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand that, because we vouch for ourselves so much. Like, we vouch for ourselves in our jobs. We vouch for ourselves, hopefully, when we have toxic family members and all that shit. We vouch for ourselves on the sidewalk. Somebody like coming at you sideways on the subway platform. Why the fuck are we not vouching for ourselves?
Because they're afraid of the L.
Well, you got to take the L.
Yeah, they're afraid.
Just take it.
They're not good risk takers.
Look, if somebody is like a little baby deer that is afraid of like, oh no, I'm going to be exclusive with this girl that checks all my boxes that I'm hanging out with 24/7 because I'm a confused little bitch, let him run back into the woods, girl. Like, let Bambi go. Please. I'm so tired of everyone being such pussies. I'm sorry. Like, it is exhausting to hear this stuff over and over again.
Yeah. And mostly I think it stems in the realm of communication, which is part of the problem. Like,
everyone's afraid.
Yeah, they're afraid for that because there's some kind of pride attached to it.
I'm so mean.
But then again, right? Like, no, it's just more truthful. But then again, like, then you start to realize that people just start to live and learn their lessons, right? And that's just either they learn it or they don't. And like, who cares? Like, we can't care about everybody at every moment, whether they say something or whether they don't. Either they learn it or they don't. And that's a more of a harsher kind of survival of the fittest type of Darwinism.
Dude, my thing is, when this is like the biggest problem with situationships is like when you're in it and you're trying to convince yourself, actually, this is what I want, after you didn't want a situationship, you wanted a relationship. So I have a good girlfriend who was in a situationship for literally over a year with a guy. And she was like, oh, every time I would bring it up, like, so you guys are still like kicking it, and is he like your boyfriend? Because like, I met him. She would hang with friends with him. She would always be going to his apartment in Brooklyn and like hanging with him, getting dinner, whatever, like 3 nights out of the week for a year. And every time anybody was like, so what are you guys? She'd be like, I don't want anything. Like, I just don't even want a relationship. And she would be doing that. And I am the type of friend where like, I know you. And the second she would say that to me, I'm like nodding my head like, oh, okay, yeah. And literally I was like, I don't believe her ass. Like, she is unhappy with this situation, but she's trying to flex like she doesn't want a relationship. Guess what? 2 years ago, this happened. If you ask her about that guy now, she's like, oh my God, he wasted my time, blah, blah, blah. It's like, you let him waste your time. You sat there and you were trying to be the cool girl and you were pretending like it was fine. And the cool girl mentality is so fucking toxic to yourself sometimes. Yeah. Don't be cool.
This is what I mean about accountability. Not taking any accountability for their actions or their lack of action.
Well, I'm talking about the women's perspective. I want to
Me
hear
too.
the
That's
men's
what I'm saying.
perspective. I want to hear
Women
the
are not
men's
taking any
perspective.
accountability.
You've been in a situationship. Tell
Sure.
me, what were your thoughts when you were in
But
the
the
situationship?
but the part of the reality is that, which a lot of women actually don't like to hear either, right? Which is men control a lot of the realm when it comes to commitment.
I hate that, and we did a whole episode about that.
And you're right, but it's not whether I like it or not, but this is the same way that women control the gateway to even just dates alone. It's not even my opinion. It's just that anybody who starts talking about commitment is, most of the time, it's always women. It's like, where's the commitment? Why isn't he committing? If a guy's already 2-3 months with you, he already knows that you're not really seeing that many other people. And if he doesn't know that,
does he know that?
Yes.
Who are these girls?
I'm telling you right now, most girls are not. Once they get invested into a guy, most girls are like one guy. And they're waiting for one guy. They don't want to date 3 guys. They're only dating them just to even get the attention from the guy. They're waiting for one dude. It's him. And they're not getting it from him. And they're trying to figure out, what is he thinking? What is he doing? But you have to admit, that's typically the case.
It is. And I hate this because I tell my friends all the time where they're like, oh, and I'm like, just go out there and be swiping. But I can't do that, Alyssa. Well, you know what? I get it. All right. This is the problem. Lover girls. Lover girls are the girl you should be wanting to date. That's the sweet girl that is literally a romantic. She's like Charlotte from Sex and the City. She will be a good wife to you. That is the girl that gets fucked over the most, honestly. And that is what I see perpetually. The lover girls, the ones that will give you a chance over and over and over again, and they believe in love. And I'm not saying I don't believe in love, but like, those are the girls to get perpetually shit on. Just like the nice guy is always the guy to get shit on. Those girls will literally not walk away until the guy does.
Yeah, they won't walk away because you have to think about the guys they choose. Just
They
like the
choose
same guys that are the quote unquote nice guys, and they wonder why they keep getting played out because of the kind of girls that they tend to go after and navigate towards. It's like,
Yeah.
if you're the lover girl and you keep going after the chads and whatever, and you keep getting so concerned about what's happening here, it's because of who you keep choosing. You could have chosen the really good guy. He's in your DMs. He's your side. It's the guy that's in your friend zone. You just don't want to deal with him. You want the guy that you're really like turned on by. And okay, you could do that.
I don't understand. Sometimes I think also in this age range, the problem is like for women that are starting to make more money and be more successful and they're really independent, their pool is really small. So like when they finally get attention from somebody, they sometimes latch on because they just want that attention. Like it's nice to have somebody, it's nice to have that attention, and then we're just giving it to the wrong person because he's there. And we're hoping maybe it'll grow into something that it probably won't.
How do you solve that issue, I guess is the question.
Look, this is going to be a harsh truth for a lot of men and women, but I'm going to need you guys, everybody who's in it knows at 2 a.m., they will admit to themselves, like, I'm not happy. This is kind of fucked up. But for some reason, they can't admit it to the person and to their surroundings. They're like so afraid. I'm just going to need everyone to be okay with being single. It is really not that bad. Would you rather be single for 6 months and maybe accidentally meet the right person, or be in a horrible relationship that isn't a relationship for a year of your life? Think of how many people you've bypassed in that year, right? Like, you just wasted a year. What if you could have met the love of your life then? That's what a lot of people are doing. It's not like situationships are not out here being like, I mean, there's the 2 month, 3 month, because that's when the fall off usually occurs. But once you get past the 3 months, it's like 8 months for people, or 9 months.
Yeah, they allow 8-9 months to be taken, stripped out from underneath them.
I mean, I had a partner where I asked him like this conversation, and we were exclusive and we were dating. We were like in a relationship. But when we were talking about next steps, he was like, why do we have to talk about it? It's not very sexy. And I was like, no, we're going to talk about it. Because like that's what will make me stay.
Sure. And I guess he wasn't ready, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
Guess not. It's okay though. But you live and learn from situationships. I think that's part of the benefit, right? Like if there's anything, you could take something from the goal here is to take something away from it. And if you look at it through an optimistic lens, you start to say, okay, I took these signs. I went through 2 situationships. Probably shouldn't be doing this again. I probably should communicate better. I probably should stand on a little bit more business that I always claim I typically tend to until I meet a guy I like, then I falter, and then I cave. How do I actually keep these regardless of who's in front of me?
Yeah.
Big question. And then how do I communicate better? Maybe you need to go to communication class. Maybe you need to go back to the degree that people got. And it's very important, right? Because in every other capacity in people's lives, it's less of a problem. But when you put somebody else into your life, then all of a sudden you don't feel like you're in full control. So the communication is maybe a blow to oneself or pride. I get that too, but we have to kind of face those fears, because if not, you'll just forever be played and fucked around.
I just want to also call out that we are recording in a studio right now in a fiery inferno of death, because there's no AC and it is so hot in New York. So I just want to shout out Benny and me right now for literally not dying. So this is going to be controversial.
Ooh.
But I think we all need to stop giving relationship benefits. And I'm going to say it, but people are going to come for me. You know what? Come cancel me. I don't care. Give us some content. Give us some engagement. But we're giving relationship benefits sometimes way too soon to people. So like, I had a friend, and every time she went on a first or second date with someone, she was hooking up. And like, I have to say, that's how you sometimes can put yourself in a situationship. Like, I hate to be that person. And this goes for guys too, because we lose respect for you too. But like, sometimes it's like, I don't see this with this person because of the way things went in the beginning. Like, it's a little too this, it's a little too that. Like, you're giving everything away. There's literally nothing. Like, the reason why I feel like I have not ended up in a lot of situationships has always been like, I'm very clear with my boundaries. Like, this is what I want. This is what I'm looking for. If you're on the same page, we will date. I have a pace internally I don't share with people at how I move in that relationship if I like you. Sometimes I'm obsessed with you, I want to rip your clothes off. Doesn't mean I'm going to do it immediately. So like, I think a lot of people need to kind of think about their boundaries and what they want out of things, because if you're progressing things, like we're just like hitting it off and it's this, this, and this, like that is sometimes how people get stuck in that category, I will say. And it's like something people don't want to hear. But it's what I've seen over and over and over again. Sure,
I can understand that, and I definitely agree with that, because sometimes it takes you a while to risk assess a situation, right? Like if intimacy is such an emotional component for you, and you can't deal with it if it can go either way, then you might want to suss the situation a little bit and see his behaviors and actions. I'm talking about like as a girl, but to see his behavior and actions until you feel comfortable enough, because that can easily get you involved emotionally into something that may not even work itself out. And while it doesn't automatically disqualify something, you can always see the momentum start to build, because if you haven't seen enough of his actions to know if he's actually interested in you as a person, that can fall.
I'm just saying, like, I think that sometimes people don't, in a situationship, I'm gonna also get canceled for this, you don't respect that person. Like, if you truly valued that person and respected them, you wouldn't let them live in darkness. You wouldn't make them feel like this person is always getting my nervous system in fight or flight. Like, you don't respect me.
That could be true, but also too, unless you're willing to communicate those feelings and fight or flights about why this is a problem, what is he supposed to do? He's having a good time, you're having a good time, you guys are hanging out, and you don't communicate nothing. It's like, what are you expecting to do?
Well, this is what I always say to women. Of course he's having a good time, he's getting the cookie. Why would a man walk away from that if it's on a table? He's gonna eat the cookie if it's on a table. Why would he not? Like, every single time, one of my friends in a situationship, and they're like, well, I don't understand. He keeps coming back and we keep hooking up. Well, he's a straight man. Yeah. Like you said, it's harder for guys than girls. Why would he walk away? Doesn't mean a situationship doesn't mean he hates you. Doesn't mean he is disgusted by you. It just means he's not seeing a future with you. But it doesn't mean that he's not liking that. And why wouldn't he keep doing it if it's free? Yeah, and listen, I always get this flag for telling girls that he's not interested, but there's plenty of levels of interest. When I say not interested, not interested in what you want. And there's a very big difference. So, there's behaviors that, he might be interested in you. He might actually like you. He might like intimacy with you. He might like hanging out with you a little bit. He just doesn't want to do it long term. He doesn't see you as a potential commitment or getting down on one knee for you and whatever. 100%. You know what I mean? Yeah. Look, a lot of people are going to have hot takes about that, because I see so many podcasts out there like, oh, YOLO, like, he could easily never speak to you again after the 5th date when you guys finally hook up, versus if you do it on the 2nd date, like, he can do it whenever, blah, blah, blah. It's like, yeah, but like, you got to work at your comfortability. So like, if you're in your hoe phase, be in your hoe phase. You know, this is my, like, it's making more sense now as you hear it, guys. Like, the first 3 things that I said were like, hoe face situationship, you're actually trying to be committed, but you're still confused situationship, and you're in a relationship and you are not progressing, but you're comfortable as fuck.
Yeah.
Situationship.
But I also think it has to come. It comes back to also to like self-awareness. Like you guys got to be. I think people in general have to be honest with each other. You have to be like, hey, listen, can I deal with this? Am I actually the person to be able to do this? Will I feel comfortable enough doing it, or will I go into a downward spiral and cry myself to sleep every night? Very different people.
I think everybody needs to learn about emotional intelligence.
Sure.
Like truly, there are some great books out there. I'm trying to remember the one that I read, and honestly, it kind of got me together, but I just think everybody needs to understand that part. Because like, why are we focusing so much on the other person and what they want? What do you want? Okay, you want a relationship? Are you in one? No, go find one. Like, we need to have more awareness about what do we want and satisfying our needs and boundaries. It's less about the other person. This is for men and women, but I do find that women get sucked into this way more than men.
Yeah, I tend to find that women actually have a more difficult time controlling their emotions.
Oh my God, we're gonna say that in this country? We're gonna say that? Oh my, the men have been wild. It is wild. Well, you know, they are Geminis.
But yeah, they've been wild. But on the extreme case, yes. But on the other case, you know, there's a lot of consequences for men expressing their emotions. And you might see the extreme ones where guys would do extreme things, but it's very less common. Whereas, you know, they kind of have to figure out to some level, especially around other men, how to control that, because they can get checked. It becomes more physical real quick. Whereas it's a little bit different, I think, for women, where, you know, there's a lot of emotions that are going through there. Men are emotional too, but just maybe in a different way.
Oh my God. Hot take. Men are way more emotional than women. You guys actually get way more emotional. The amount of men that I have seen cry outweighs the number of women I've seen cry.
I wouldn't say that's the general norm, though. I'd have to. I think a lot of men very much restrict it. I think there's a difference between feeling emotion and then expressing it, and how to regulate what type of expression you give with that specific emotion, right? And I think emotional in general is a very broad statement. You know, everybody has these like emotional things, but I never really see men cry.
Well, women are more apt to like starting conversations that can kind of go left, right? I think men are way more quick to anger, and that emotion is super toxic.
Sure.
Like, we're going to I mean, I've had disagreements with partners where it's like it's just a conversation, and then they get up and they're like and they're being a little bit more aggressive, and I'm sitting there like, why are you so freaking hyped up? Like, it's quicker jumps to anger.
Sure.
And that is actually super problematic.
Sure, they can get angry. Yeah, I could see that going to anger first before sadness.
I mean, look, I know there's some girls out here. I saw someone break a window during quarantine. They threw something at their partner and they shattered their window like across the street from me. It was actually crazy. We all stopped what we were doing. My friends are like, yeah, I told them the story. They're like, that shit is funny. I'm like, she threw a hairdryer. Like, that was anger. Yeah, no, for sure. We can get really angry, but like guys can get like scary angry.
Sure.
Okay, how do we end a situationship? All right. How do we end it? Walk me through what you think.
Well, it depends on what you want. Like, if you get into the point of situationship where you're looking for commitment, then you have to make commitment a requirement. And if that's not a thing, then it's not a thing. I think I don't know why. I just think this the topic of like that for a lot of people is it's like overrated. I feel like all you really need to do is start communicating what it is that you want, and if that's okay, right? Like, if you don't want to do this anymore, then stop. I don't know what you're complaining about at some point, right? It's like, again, it just kind of goes back to like this level of like personal accountability and like responsibility of like doing something and not being a victim of other people's actions or lack of action.
Yeah. Don't be a victim. Don't villainize.
Yeah.
But also like say what you want. And do you think you should give a timetable?
A timetable for what?
Oh, this is really gonna light the men up. They love a timeline. Like, if she was like, hey, we've been seeing each other for 8 months, like, I would like to be exclusive, and like, if we can't get to that point by the end of the month, like, I'm probably gonna move on. Is that like scary to men?
I don't even think it's relevant if it's scary to men. I just think that I don't even think you should give it time. Like, first off, like, who cares about who cares about what he's feeling after 8 months?
Well,
8
I'm
months.
just saying,
I know.
sometimes people need like a...
I get it, but we may disagree on this one because I don't.
No, I'm not saying you should do that. I'm saying like I've heard stories, so I'm saying like, is that something you stand behind?
I don't. No, I don't. I feel like, at some point, if somebody's not willing to commit, and specifically, I always give depending on how often you guys hang out, the 2 to 3 month mark. I always give it that. I think that's fair.
Oh my God, so many people out here on situationships for way longer, Benny. Like,
I know, but that's part of the problem, because if you're somebody who actually wants those other things that most women tend to want at that point, you can't be wasting time in 6-7 month situationships back to back to back. That doesn't make any sense. You're wasting 3 years for nothing because you can't communicate.
My favorite thing about it is people, I find, and this is like something that I've learned in my years, a lot of people don't have this ability to like put themselves in other people's shoes, which is honestly astounding to me. Like, I can't even imagine not doing that all the time. But what I always say to people is like, it's so easy to be like, oh, just end it. Like, sometimes we're too deep. Our emotions, especially as women, like we're tied to that person, intimacy, all that shit.
Sure. That's fair.
What I always think and how to frame it is basically like, okay, this is happening to your sister. What would you say? Your brother. Like, would you sit here and hear this shit and be like, oh my God, you should like totally marry them, bring them into the family. Like, I want to be related to them. Like, they sound great. Would you? Like, your best friend, anyone you're super, super close with, like frame it like it's that person and you're hearing the stories. Would you think that that is something that you would vouch for them to be in? Right. If not, you're going to have to do the really difficult thing of detaching yourself mentally and ending it, which is easier said than done, I know. But like, again, go back into your hoe phase. Like, what? I mean, it's a little fun.
No, I agree. I think it's important to look at it from the other perspective.
Yeah.
Like, even if a lovely lady would call into mine and start talking this way about a guy, this way about a guy, and do this with a guy, it's like, how would you feel if a girl did this to your son? And then it's a different perspective. It makes you think about it a little bit differently. It develops a little bit of empathy on the person you're dealing with.
Yeah. And like, not everybody in a situationship on the other side of it is like a bad person.
Yeah.
They're just closed off. They're not into it.
Yeah, most people don't have bad intentions.
Yeah, they're not.
It's just this like narrative that's like, he's trying to do this to me. I'm like,
yeah.
He might just be a guy that's not trying to do anything to you, that's just trying to figure out if he likes you or not, to want to take it further, just like you're doing with him.
Yeah.
It's not like he's always trying to manipulate you if he doesn't work out. It's not like he's always trying to love bomb you just because he's showing interest in you. He's not always trying to do this, but you're so over-infiltrated with all the nonsense you've taken every day that you can't see things straight and you can't think originally, and that's part of a bigger issue at hand. Whenever
I've been in a situationship or a weird situation for a second, I've always been like, never trying to be malicious to that person. Like, we're never trying to hurt people. And I think sometimes some people are. I'm not going to generalize and say some people aren't absolute dickheads, but I would say most people aren't trying to be like that. They're just genuinely confused. But like, they shouldn't, you shouldn't have to live in their confusion.
Sure.
So like, if you need clarity and you're confused and you're not sitting here like, oh, I'm so happy in this relationship, that's your sign. Like, you're not understanding where you're at with somebody, that is your sign.
Sure.
Like, you're in a situationship.
That's a good point.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're just going to let go and make room for real love. So, like, come on, guys. Let's all
I love that.
Be aware.
It's a great message. I agree. Situationships are about communication, and if you can't communicate, you can't navigate a proper situationship in a way that's conducive for long-term commitment.
If you're in a situationship and you can't communicate how you feel and what you want, you shouldn't even be trying to get into a relationship, quite frankly. Sure. You're not ready. Yeah. You can't communicate. You're not having a successful marriage.
Yeah.
It's the first key.
Yeah.
Cool. Benny, thank you so much for coming.
This was great again. Thank you for another amazing podcast. This was fantastic.
Where can everyone find you?
Benny Inc. BENNYINC.
All right, guys. Tell your friends, tell your fam at MissJudged Podcast. 5-star reviews only. See you next time.